kids today, so desensitized by movies and television.
Welcome to the MTG Podcast.
I'd like to have a calm discussion on this topic. I think we can manage that.
Where we discuss the latest in movies, TV, and games.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
We're your hosts, Luke, Jordan, and Joe.
I see him up ahead. Let's rock and roll!
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
How you doing, guys?
What's up?
Nothing much. Did you guys have a nice 4th of July?
I got sick, so no.
Poor Joe. He did get sick.
Do you have things pouring out of your nose?
Yeah, I'm on antibiotic. Had a steroid shot the other day. I'm feeling a little better, but pardon my voice sounding awful. It's pretty terrible right now.
I'm so sorry, Joe.
It happens to the best of us.
Well, you weren't sick in the entire
No,
holiday.
I got sick Saturday night. So I guess 4th of July, I just worked. That was it. And then, got sick the next day. Wife's out of town, so I had to take care of myself. It was sad.
So sorry, Joe. If I were there, I would take care of you with all of my motherly instincts that I don't have.
Nice.
Joe, Luke, you went to St. Augustine.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Whole family went down to the beach. That was nice. Got to spend some time in the sun, baking
Baking your skin in the sun?
Heading towards getting skin cancer at some point, I guess.
Yay. That's grim.
Hopefully not.
Everyone has to die sometime.
That's true.
Very nice.
Why not skin cancer?
It started raining here in Gainesville, Joe. Is it raining where you are in Lakeland?
It rained earlier, so might have been moving north.
Interesting, talking about the weather. Me and you, we went to Disney.
We did. We had a fun time Saturday morning before I got sick. So hopefully
Yeah,
you don't have it.
So 4th of July wasn't all that bad, was it?
No, I guess it wasn't.
Did you have fun? We went to Epcot.
Yeah, had a lot of fun. Epcot's a pretty cool place. It had we did a great job, fast passing rides and staying out of the sun. I think we did a good job with that. I think that Epcot, in my opinion, honestly, might be the most kid friendly park because a lot of the hear me out.
Okay.
A lot of the rides don't have the height requirements that the other parks have. So, like, the other parks have all these height requirements, and Epcot only has, like a ride or something, or 2 rides maybe that have a height requirement. Everything else, any kid can ride.
Yeah, because most of the rides are like river adventures as you learn about Mexico and plants.
Yeah, but do you know how much fun a kid would have on Soarin', or how much fun a kid would have on
so much fun.
If
Yeah.
if you think back to when you were a child, your mind, Test Track 1. Are you kidding me? I know it had like a 3-hour wait on Saturday, but if you fast pass that thing, you take your kid, they're gonna love that ride. Awesome.
One complaint I have about Disney. Let's turn this into a Disney review podcast.
Okay.
Look, we made reservations. When I say we, I mean I made reservations
here it
to.
comes.
Yeah, I know. We were upset. We made reservations online to go to the Japanese restaurant in Epcot, Japan. And we walk around the world, to Mexico and to England and all that stuff. When we get to Japan, and we look at the menu
Italy.
Italy's lovely. And we're like, all right, let's see what we're going to get. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is expensive. And so the consensus was we don't want to eat here anymore. And that was, we didn't feel like spending that much on that
Pretty legitimate.
particular day.
Gotcha.
Pretty legitimate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. And so we're like, let's eat somewhere else. And so I called them. I call up Disney to cancel my reservation. And they were like, all right, what time? What was your confirmation number? Tell them all my details. And they were like, okay, we can cancel you. But it's going to be a $10 cancellation fee
Oh my gosh.
per person.
Good grief.
And so I was mad. And so it was a whole fiasco. We ended up going there and just getting dessert. And we went somewhere else.
Jeez.
But still, that's such a...
Cheaper to just get dessert, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Than
absolutely.
pay that. That's ridiculous.
Oh, such a steep consequence for such a simple mistake.
Goodness.
And I also stubbed my toe. really badly.
Is it still pretty
That's
swollen?
that's the main thing.
I think it might be broken, Joe.
He's thinking that.
I buddy taped it together though, so it's good. That toenail is coming off. I judged both of you. You two have, at some point, I think both of you had points
That was
where you.
the thumbnail.
Oh, it was your thumbnail.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ew, Luke, you're gross."
It was awful.
No, I'm gross.
Welcome to the party.
I've lost a few toenails. Andrew's lost the most.
Yeah, he is.
Gross. It's turning all black.
That's
and
what playing
nasty.
soccer does to you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what going to Disney on a Saturday does to you. So, guys,
You just
you
were
want to get
excited
into?
and you tried to hug someone and you kicked the curb. That's what happened. So
Yeah, I was really happy to see Andrew, your brother Joe.
yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into it. What have you been watching / playing? Joseph, it seems like you have the most going on because you're sick, and so when you're sick, you end up consuming large amounts of media. So
He has
Wow.
all abbreviations, just so everyone knows out there in our notes, because it's too much room for the notes.
I can't even read. I don't know what he's gonna say.
They're
'cause-
random. Do you want me to read the whole list like this? But this is all I can remember. I've watched in the last
There's
3
more.
days of my flu. There is more. Lethal Weapon 3, Lethal Weapon 4, The Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, Born Legacy, Little Shop of Horrors, Blade Trinity, Runner, Kicking and Screaming. I've forgotten the rest of what I wrote down.
Oh my gosh!
Pacific Rim, Sleepy Hollow.
What a ridiculously varied list you have there. Which one of
I
these are
know.
you actually going to talk about?
What is twine?
Um,
You don't even remember.
He's watched too many movies, folks.
Are you sure that's not an abbreviation? You can't even read your own
no,
notes.
Listen, I'm on antibiotic and I'm sick, so I can't exactly recall what I was. It'll come to me later on in the show, and I'm gonna stop you guys, and I'm gonna tell you what it actually is.
Okay, good.
You
Guaranteed
seriously
that.
don't know what twine is? All right, that's fine.
We'll look forward to
No,
it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could probably think about it long enough while you guys are talking later. But put on the spot like that, I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Sorry to put you on the spot
I would
on a podcast.
I would have to say, let me talk about. It had been a while since I'd seen Lethal Weapon, and I watched 1 and 2 a few weeks ago, some randomly, and then 3 and 4 were on while I was sick, so I watched them. And it's funny how, like the Die Hard movies, we take a lot of the action that we do nowadays from those movies. So it's interesting to me whenever you watch a movie from 80s, 90s, and we're pretty much just reproducing the same thing. It's obviously better because we have special effects that are kind of out of this world now. The Runner, I was really disappointed. Ben Affleck and Justin Timberlake. I like Justin Timberlake movies for the most part, but the last couple he's made they just haven't been as good as maybe the first couple that he made.
What last couple?
In Time.
Okay.
And this one, and then there was one Alpha Dog or something. That's what I'm thinking about off the.
That was one of his first ones that he was in. I did not like Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
Little Shop of Horrors was my first time seeing it, and I liked it. It was strange, but I kind of liked it. I'd like to watch it again. I only caught the end of it, so I'd like to watch it again.
Doesn't count.
Well, I mean, I caught the last 45 minutes. That's more than half.
Fine.
Again, what was funny was I turned on, I think it was Showtime, and The Dark Knight Rises was on, and I watched it all the way through from start to finish. And then I flipped up 2 channels, and HBO had Batman Begins. And I'm just still those are some of my favorite movies. And The Dark Knight Rises, it's just so well made. It's a powerful movie from a lot of standpoints. And I'm just blown away at how much the character of Batman matured from Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises. And I think the Nolan's pick on it or view of it and how he kind of brought it to light and created that world, the Dark Knight world. It's it's kind of mind blowing what he did with the character. And The Dark Knight Rises was it's still has to be one of my favorite movies. It was just so awesome. I love one thing I love about it the most is the music. You know, what he does with his music in his movies, it's just, man, the movie just flows with it. It's awesome. So yeah, I have watched a ton of movies.
Just
not all of
a
them
note on that. I agree with you like completely with Nolan, and I think what's cool about it is like, I know for me and Jordan, we agree probably on this, is like 3 probably of our favorite things are Lost, like the Marvel whole franchise, and like the Dark Knight series. And like the cool thing with the Dark Knight that's kind of different from Lost and Marvel is like Marvel has like a team of people who are on the same page and they're creating like good movies and this cool universe. And Lost had a team of people who were doing the, and not that the Dark Knight doesn't have a team of people, but like it just seemed like it was really focused around Nolan and his vision and his directing and producing. And I think it's pretty cool, like such a great 3 movie franchise was pretty much centered around one guy, versus like Lost had a team of great directors who came in, like there were guest directors that made great episodes, and Marvel's had, you know, almost every movie's been directed by someone new or written by someone different. And I don't know, just a cool note. Yeah. He did a great job.
We're definitely going to get into this Batman talk a lot later. We have a special episode just for him.
Well, you know, Christopher Nolan, though, like a lot of the stuff that he's been a part of has been pretty cool as of late. You know, I guess it's mostly been the Batman
definitely.
stuff, but The Prestige, I like that a lot. I like Memento. I liked Inception, and his new movie looks pretty cool. I mean, I even like Man of Steel, you know, but that was, I guess that could
Even
be considered,
Man of Steel.
It could be considered like maybe his low, you know, his low point or whatever. But
He didn't direct that movie.
what? Well,
didn't direct that
worked
movie.
Worked with, you know, he was a producer. I mean, I guess you can have 1,000 producers or whatever. Anyways, I need to talk one more little side note here. Pacific Rim. Okay, I've watched it. This is probably the 3rd time. Again, the fight scenes are epic. I really didn't like the characters and all that stuff about that movie. But my question is, we talked about the sequel. I think we talked about it last podcast. So what exactly are they going to make a sequel of? Is it going to be a prequel? Because in the first one, I had forgotten when we talked about the sequel. I mean, everything is sealed up. It's good to go. Spoiler alert. And I think you're supposed to say spoiler alert before.
Whatever. That's not really a
they
spoiler.
defeated the
big
Kaija,
spoiler.
and now all of a sudden we're gonna have a Pacific. We're gonna have a Pacific Rim 2 after all of their robots have been destroyed. I mean, like it just. I'm like,
Well, I have the same thoughts about like how they're gonna make 3 Avatar movies. I have no idea how they're doing that, but they are.
yeah.
And really, I didn't think they could make a sequel out of How to Train Your Dragon, even though they're books. But apparently, Guillermo, I have a hard time saying his name.
Guillermo
Del Toro. He has like when he wrote this movie, he imagined a universe. Like there's like a Bible that they wrote for this entire universe, basically spanning the entire thing. So I believe he has a plan for it. I don't know what it is, and I'm with you. I can't even they sealed that so tight for me. I can't really see what they're gonna do, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And
love the first one
again.
Probably some Transformers thing. Some side story.
Oh yeah.
Something that we kind of talked about last week too. You know, Pacific Rim did fairly well in the foreign box office. Do you think
Is going to be a Chinese language movie?
No. Joe, we've been through this.
It will be. I think it will be.
They might have a fight in Asia like they did in the last one, but they're not going to be starring Chinese celebrities.
He's snapping $1 in front of the camera.
Is that
everyone.
the bet? Is
George
that the bet?
Washington says
No, he was
otherwise.
just showing off
here
his
it is,
dollar.
Jordan. Mark it down. Joseph thinks it'll be in a different language. At least 55% of the movie will be.
What? No.
So you're saying that it could perhaps be half English, half Chinese?
Yes.
Well,
I'll go
Joe, you're about to
75.
lose yourself a McDouble right there because that's ridiculous.
It's gonna transfer from Chinese subtitles to English subtitles
Yes.
halfway through the movie.
No. Or Joe, I believe, for the last few weeks and the last few podcasts, we've been talking about what we've been watching / playing, but you haven't said much on the playing side, but I believe this is a dawn of a new age.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dawn of the Transformer? Or wait.
No.
Yeah, I finished school. Well, I have one more thing due like in August, but I finished the big major part of my schooling on 4th of July. So
Cue
my
the
wife
clapping.
gave me the old what?
Cue the clapping.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And so my wife said, "Well, you've been wanting a PS4, so why don't you just get it?" So after like months of thinking about it, I traded in my 360 and got a PS4. And
This is the best day of my life.
Cue the booing.
This is the best day of my life.
And I got a couple of games, and one game in particular, it's Lego Marvel Superheroes. I think it has Avengers in there somewhere, but it really is just Marvel Superheroes. That's what they probably should have named it, because it's a great game. I highly encourage anyone who wants to play a game that is fun, very much kid-friendly, and very much there's a lot of stuff you can do. I beat the game already, but I'm only at 15 to 18% done with the game.
It's funny you say that the Avengers are in there somewhere, because when
They're
I
all
downloaded the
Avengers.
demo on Xbox One, it was like, this is an Avengers game. It's the way they presented it. Like, the demo is only the Avengers superheroes.
Right.
Like, it's that level, and it's Hulk, and it's Iron Man, and
This has got literally everyone in it.
Yeah, there's so
I
many
don't know how
characters
much
in
more I
that.
can say without ruining the game for you, which I doubt I could ruin it. But there's even there's twists at the very end of the game that I was like, what?
Yeah, it's funny because without knowing what games I have for my PlayStation 4, Joe actually just naturally turned to get the same games, which are Infamous, Second Son, which I don't think he's gotten to yet, and Lego Marvels. And yeah, I agree with you, man. If you're a fan of Legos, it's the best one yet, I think. And if you're a fan of Marvel, it's a must.
If you're a fan of Marvel, it's just really cool. And the way that they did a fantastic job with, powers. Like, everybody has their certain powers, and it's still like there's just so much you can do. It's just kind of crazy, and I'd love to. I got to figure out how to do it all eventually, and I can't wait to have my nephews over to play it too, because they're gonna love it. They're gonna think it's fun as well. So
yeah, they'll love it.
Pretty excited about it.
Get that second controller. Actually,
I do.
No,
I
get
came
that
with the
second controller.
Yeah.
Oh, nice! You can be playing it with your little kitties.
Co-op time.
All right, Luke. Do you have anything else, Joe? Real quick.
No, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna think about what that movie is though, and then I'll say it in the middle of when you guys are talking. But
it's a documentary about string. Don't talk about it.
It's Mouse Hunt. That's what it was.
Oh, oops! Of course.
Twine.
Oh, jeez.
Luke, what have you been watching / playing?
Well, it's kind of the opposite of Joe. I usually am playing a lot of video games, but thanks to a busy week getting ready to go to the beach and then going to the beach, which actually I did play a few video games, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But then being at the beach house that we were at in St. Augustine, didn't get to play a lot of games, but we had Netflix built into the TV and we had a Chromecast. So we watched a few movies with the family at night. A few that I'd actually, all but one that I'd already seen. The first one is Olympus Has Fallen, which actually was one of those movies I ended up seeing for the first time in our $1/$2 theater. And I didn't like it that much when I saw it there. I thought it was decent and well worth the $2 I spent on it. But honestly, the second time I saw it, I enjoyed it a lot more. Like, I noticed that there was quite a bit more cursing. And I didn't realize quite how bloody it was, but it definitely was worth its R rating.
Things seem a lot more intense when you watch it with your
that's
family
true.
and your
That's probably
parents.
true.
You're starting to notice
I wasn't thinking
more.
about it.
I mean, it's like me, you're like, whatever. But when it's your
Yeah.
family, you're like, oh.
That's probably not a good thing to admit, but it's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy it more, actually. if I was to give it a quick rating, I'd probably give it a 6.5 or a 7.
Not bad.
It's a pretty. I like Gerard Butler, so a lot of times, like we'd said before about Transformers, like one person will kind of make a movie for me. If I like someone or it's an actor that I really enjoy, then I can get into the movie. So that's probably one reason I liked it a lot. Another one I've seen a couple times, it's probably my third time maybe seeing it, is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Pretty classic film. I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast has probably seen, or if they haven't, please go see it. Really funny. Chevy Chase.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Really
Sure.
good. Classic movie. I'm sure everyone's seen it, so I don't have to explain it. But, yep, go see it again if you haven't seen it in a while. And then a new one I saw. What's the name of the actor in this movie?
Simon Pegg.
Yeah, your boy, Simon Pegg.
He's awesome.
The Fantastic Fear of Everything. It is on Netflix. I saw the trailer when it was on iTunes trailers, and I thought it looked very strange. I wasn't really sure what to think of it.
Looks crazy.
And basically the idea is Simon Pegg is a shut-in hermit kind of guy who is a novelist who is researching a book on murders of like the 19th century or the 20th century. I don't remember, but like last 100 years of murderers. And so he's been doing all this research, and because of that research, he has become extremely afraid of pretty much everything. And so the majority of the movie goes on inside of his apartment, and it's really freaky. I'm not going to ruin anything, but it's honestly, there's not that much to ruin. But it's strange film. It's if you just don't have much to watch that day, you should watch it. But it probably wasn't the best movie. I think I fell asleep near the end, so I don't really even know what happened.
Old Simon.
But a sign of things of us to come later and us to talk about later is me and Jordan also watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I watched it too.
Okay,
Not
good.
with you.
Well, then I didn't realize if you were going to watch it or not.
Yeah.
But Joe watched it too.
Again.
In anticipation of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes coming out this weekend. So we'll talk about that some more later. Jordan, over to you.
All right. Well, I've been taking advantage of something I've been talking about a lot recently, PlayStation Plus. Their July games, their July free games have come out, Joe, so you better jump on it.
Jump on it.
Jump on it. Jump on it.
Yeah, everybody get. Two free games this month are Strider and Towerfall Ascension. The one that looks the most appealing at first glance is Strider, but honestly, I haven't played much of it yet. But I started playing Towerfall Ascension with my roommates. It's like, listening to that name, it sounds like the most generic video game name I've ever heard of in my entire life. Towerfall Ascension. Luke, do you know what that game is?
No clue.
What does it sound like?
It reminds me of a tower defense game.
Okay, well, it is kind of like that, actually. It's like, okay, it's like a one-screen game where it's very heavily focused on multiplayer. It's a lot like the original Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers side-scroller, but the Mario Brothers where you battle the enemies that come on the screen in waves. And it's a really...
So it's a tower defense game.
It's a tower defense game. It's really simple.
Wow.
But me and Zach, my roommate Zach, we were playing it for ages. We were addicted. Like, it's just a really charming and fun game. Like, you should play it, Joe. It's a lot of fun. Play it with your wife or your nephews or nieces or whatever, because it's actually a really well-made game. It seems like there's so many games coming out these days, these indie games that are a lot really retro, but a lot of them are actually really great. Like, they're not all like just trying to get the nostalgia in you. A lot of them are actually very well done.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that. On the Xbox One, there's also been a lot of those games coming out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They've gotten some good reviews, too. I haven't gotten to play many of them, but maybe I should.
Yeah, it's good to see that. It's good to see that, like, a lot of these games, you don't have to spend that much to have hours and hours of entertainment. Like, because it's like, you know, this is the first year of this new console generation. So it's cool to have these games to, like, tide you over, because, you know, all these people are just starting to work on these games. That's why like everything's coming out in 2015. So it's good to know we have these simple games to tide us over, even though all of them aren't like games that you look at and you say like, wow, that's like the best looking game I've ever seen. Like when you play like Dead Rising 3 or Infamous Second Son, those games look incredible and they're nice examples of current gen, but we're not going to get that many of these. So it's nice to see these small games that are actually fun and they're not just like kind of just gunning for your nostalgia just to grab a buck. So yeah, check it out. It's free on PlayStation Plus if you have a subscription. Okay, random movie. What About Bob is a movie that I grew up on because my mother brought home a VHS. And because she was like, oh, I've got a movie for you. And, you know, being however old I was, 8 or something like that, being like, oh, man, expecting some kid movie or like Power Rangers or something. But no, it's this movie with a goofy title called What About Bob? And I begrudgingly watched it as a kid. I loved it. I loved it as a kid. And I had a really tough day on Sunday. Just like, oh, I'm so stressed out. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to do nothing. And so I got home, I sat down, popped on Netflix to see what was on, and not even thinking about it, saw that What About Bob is on Netflix, immediately pressed play. Like a lot of my roommates were around and I was like, listen, I'm just going to play this. Just watch it if you want. Because it seems like a really random movie. And, you know, it's kind of like a by the numbers early 90s family movie, but everything in it I think is just done so well. And you probably would think like, oh, it's Bill Murray that steals the show. It's Bill Murray. Bill Murray's awesome, but I'm going to be honest, what really keeps me coming back to this movie is Richard Dreyfuss. His performance in that movie is nothing short of comedic genius. Like his timing, he basically turns from real quickly, the setup for the movie is Bob is Bill Murray's. I'm not going to ruin anything. Bill Murray's character is like this extreme OCD personality who's afraid of everything. He's freaking out and he has this obsession with his psychiatrist, and at the moment is Richard Dreyfuss's character. And as he takes on this new patient, Bob, as he's going on vacation with his family. And so hijinks ensue as Bob tracks him down and commences to ruin this guy's vacation and getting close with his family who is in love with him. And so like it's just great to like see Richard Dreyfuss turn into this guy who's like kind of a pompous guy with this new book that's coming out, turn into this enraged personality. He turns into a cartoon character. There's like this part in the movie where he's like at the breaking point with Bob and they're like driving in a car and he like screams for him to get out of the car, but like it's illegible.
We just got to figure out a way to work around your schedule. Could we work afternoons? 2 to 4, 3 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? You saying you'd rather work mornings?
Like, I can't even understand him. He's so mad. He's just speaking gibberish. But it's awesome. I think it's not just nostalgia. Just like the more I see it, the more I realize, man, this is a great comedy. So check it out. It's good Netflix, for the whole family. It's on Netflix, free. Have you seen it, Joe?
No, I'm going to put it on the list.
Check it out. Put it on the list. I love What About Bob.
It's funny because this came up the other day with this guy that I work with. We were talking, and somehow we got to talking about What About Bob, and he was like, yeah, you know What About Bob? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. He was like, what? No. So he let me borrow the DVD before I knew it was even on Netflix, and so I just watched it maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and it's very funny.
Yeah, it's such an unassuming name. It sounds like the most generic title. What About Bob? It just sounds really cheesy, but no, it's great. Lastly, I started the new show that's on it. I think it's on its second episode right now, but I've only seen the series premiere of The Leftovers on HBO. That is probably the worst name for what the show is. The Leftovers sounds like just some goofy comedy, but no, this is the exact opposite. It is one of the names that I immediately attached to it is Damon Lindelof is one of the main writers, which, you know, he's one of the head writers of my favorite TV show, Lost. And so I just decided to check it out, and it's actually I actually really like it a lot. It's very interesting. It's the without spoiling anything, the premise of the movie is about what would happen to a world if 5% of its population vanished. And so that's
In a world
where 5%, no. So that's like the beginning of the show. You see the event, but that's not what the show's about. It's about the aftermath, how it affects everyone. And it's like really interesting just to see what happens, like the kind of belief structures that form 5 years after an event like this happens, where 150 million people just vanish. And it's very interesting, even though it is definitely a one-way ticket to Bummersville, because it is bleak. It is very bleak, but there's reason for it. It's not just depressing for depressing's sake, just to be artful. It's actually interesting in the way that does it. There's a reason for the bleakness in this show. But I'd say give it a watch. It's on its first episode, so it could go downhill, but I'm with it for now. I'm gonna watch the second episode as soon as I can. That's it for what we've been watching / playing. So
Twine was the world is not enough.
why? That's what happens when you abbreviate everything.
Well,
Twine.
sorry.
Your abbreviation turned into a word. So
That abbreviation was not enough.
Can't help it. Can't help it. What you?
Very nice.
I need to watch The Leftovers. I have it recorded, and I'll try to see what my take is on it.
You have HBO?
Yeah.
Oh, fancy.
yeah, we'll definitely all give it a watch.
Indeed.
I'll give it at least
very
one
good.
watch, one season watch.
One season, Joe. That's your method.
If you can't win me in a season, I give you a whole season. All you people writing shows out there, I give you a whole season to win me over.
So generous.
Yeah.
That's much better than just a pilot.
But let me just
All
get
right,
you,
so
after the first season, a couple of bad episodes in the second season or whatever, and you might lose me. Might be done.
That's my experience with Once Upon a Time. That's how I felt. No offense to anyone who loves it. That's just what I did. I gave it a season. First couple episodes of the second season, I was like, nope, see ya.
Let me introduce the next thing.
Please.
It is Battle of the Blu-rays.
Dun, dun, dun.
So last week, I challenged Joe
It's
to
not
a
a
battle of
challenge.
the Blu-rays. All right,
It's a-
fine. It's not a challenge.
It's a
It's a
question.
quandary? I don't know.
Challenger found.
Me and Joe have a lot of Blu-rays, and we collect them. And Joe's always been known for having so many movies. Like
But I
when I
haven't
knew,
bought
when
a lot.
like hanging out with him in college. What?
I haven't bought that. I haven't bought Blu-rays in a long time. That's my only. I think you probably have caught up with me.
Maybe we'll see. But this is what inspired me, Joe. See, in college, the Joe I knew, there was this crate that Joe had or has.
I
That
do
like
have it.
he'd open it up and like light would shine out of it, and it was just filled.
It was like
with
a
movies.
pirate's chest.
It was. It
It
really,
really
is.
was. It had the latch and everything.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Joe, so many movies. And I was jealous. And so once I started collecting Blu-rays, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to catch up with this
Oh
guy.
my god.
And I'm in a place where I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling good. I might still be below you, but you know what? That'll only inspire me to buy more and waste more money. But I have good reasons for it. Joe, I have a question. When you, or when you would buy a Blu-ray, say like, I don't need this Blu-ray, but I'm going to make up some absurd reason to buy it. For me, my future children that I don't, when I'm buying some movie, I'm like, this is for my future children. I'm doing this for the next generation.
Like the Aliens anthology. My children.
Yes.
My 6-year-old children are going to need to watch this.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure my kids are totally going to appreciate
I buy some
Alien
classics
4.
because I feel like they might disappear somewhat. I mean, or at least they won't be hard copied. But I mean, most of the movies that I buy are just movies that I want to watch. And I don't.
What?
Wow.
I used to buy more.
That's a weird concept.
I know. I used
I
to
only buy
seasons-
games I don't want to play.
I used to buy seasons of stuff, but then everything's on Netflix now. So I've kind of like rethought it. Now, what's funny is I still have people that ask me, "Hey, can I borrow that season of that?" I'm like, "Well, actually, I only have like this season and that season. And I don't have the newer seasons because it's on Netflix. Why would I buy them?"
So Netflix is starting to kill your
The
collection.
conundrum.
Yeah. Now, Netflix doesn't affect the way I buy movies though, because my thing about movies is a little bit different. When I buy a Blu-ray, I'm always looking for the deal of the DVD and the digital. That's what really kind of, that attracts me. I will spend an extra $2, up to $2, on a movie if it has all three of those components. It's a little
All right, Joe, so
how I buy it. So should we start at like 100 and then like if it's above 100, like Luke says a number and then we kind of like go up from that? How do you want to do it?
All right, that's
Who's
fine.
left standing?
All right, and we can say when we bow
Dun,
out.
dun.
We'll do
Right, start low,
increments.
Luke.
Why don't we do increments of 50?
50? Okay.
50.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll start off at negative 50.
I
Does
have
anyone
more.
not have negative 50?
I don't owe Blockbuster 50 movies, no.
Okay. Say I if you have 50 Blu-rays.
I.
Oh, that sounded begrudgingly I. Say I if you have 100 Blu-rays.
I.
Okay, say I if you have 150 Blu-rays.
I.
Ooh. Say I if you have 200 Blu-rays.
I.
Ooh. I didn't know we were going to get up this high.
Really?
Didn't know you had that many.
Surprise.
250.
I.
300.
I.
Nay.
Yes! This is funny. I counted today, literally, 301
Good Lord,
Blu-rays. 301.
Wow. I'm impressed.
What's the count? What's the count with you, Joe?
I have 292.
Holy crap.
This is a momentous
so close.
occasion in my
Wow.
life.
That was really close, guys. You guys should combine forces.
Yeah. And then we'll be at like
500.
1,000.
Wonderful.
What
I'm
really
so
hurts
happy.
me is I have like Band of Brothers, which only counts as one, and the Pacific, which only counts as one.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yes.
That really hurts
A
me.
series, like if it's one set, like a series, like season 2 of Lost counts as one.
But Band of Brothers is a whole series.
I guess mini series. Like I have Firefly, and that's the entire series. That's one, even
But
though
that's
it's
shorter than
even
Band of
though it's
Brothers.
10 episodes.
Yeah. Band of Brothers is like 8 DVDs, sorry, 8 Blu-rays a piece.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyways,
Joe.
well
Well, I'm
done.
expecting my medal in the mail. Thank
So,
you.
so now you guys need to add up the runtime of all the movies you guys have and see which one has longer runtime.
Me.
Because that'll be more fair for Joe.
Why
That's
would
true.
you
Because
have
Band of Brothers.
longer- Why would you have how many TV series do you have on Blu-ray?
All right, not that many.
Ooh.
I only have Lost, the entire
Uh-oh.
series of Lost and Firefly.
Well, I have 30. So
Whoa.
Good grief! Wow, you have way more TV than you have movies.
You don't want to compete there,
Well, I
Jordan.
mean, than I have. TV.
Might lose your dollar.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna compete there.
hey, maybe we should bet.
$5.
Five.
Don't bring Lincoln into this.
Well,
All right, so-
here's one thing that I haven't gotten yet.
Mhm.
I don't have any of the Marvel movies.
Oh, good. Yeah, because you're waiting for
The
Phase
old-
10
the
to be done
ultimate-
with.
Master Collection.
Yeah,
Coming
I've made mistakes
2030.
too often where I've gotten the DVD and then they've come out with like a sweet collector's. I'm a sucker for a collection. You guys,
Well, they're always gonna be topping the next one.
no,
That could
they
be a
won't.
while, though.
I'm sure. I have Sound of Music, like the collector's edition. I am sure that in 15 years they're gonna come out with some ultra one that
Ultra 10K.
yeah, that Christopher Plummer, if he's still alive, is gonna come and deliver it to your house, and
No,
I'm not gonna
Christopher
buy it
Plummer
because
is
I already
dead,
have it.
isn't he?
No, he's still alive,
Oh.
barely.
For now.
You're getting him mixed up with Peter O'Toole. They're both very good, very old actors, very English. All right, so before we do MTG news, after MTG news, we're kind of gonna go through a little bit quicker than normal because we are gonna celebrate the 75th anniversary of Batman. What? What was that?
Charge.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Batman.
Unbelievable.
I don't know.
All right, let's see. On deck first is what our movie news and trailers. So we have movie news.
Yes.
What do you got, George?
First up,
Movie news.
Stephen Amell from Arrow fame who plays Oliver Queen, he said he won't be in Batman vs Superman.
Great, that's great. That's
right.
the happiest Batman vs Superman information or news I've ever heard.
Is it?
Yes, because we don't need to have everyone in a movie together. We don't.
I agree.
Especially a movie that's still setting up. It's not supposed to be like a Justice League movie. Now,
but how about this?
Here's the thing: if it was a Justice League movie and they were trying to make it attract more of an audience with nerds from across the universe, I would say they would have to try to get him in it. But because I think he does a great job as Oliver Queen. It really does, in my eyes.
Heck yeah. I think he's great. But like the thing is like, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Cyborg in Batman vs Superman, who we know like who hasn't been developed at all and we haven't even seen in a live action movie, or Oliver Queen, who's had 2 years of development on TV, who's already been developed? So
well, the obvious answer would be Oliver Queen, but you're forgetting there also is a Ben Affleck Batman that no one knows if he can even do that. You know what I mean? Like, so the only character that honestly there's any build up to, and there's like little build up to that also, is Henry Cavill's character.
Henry
Superman.
Cavill.
But
right?
really what obsessed me most about this is like the way he said it and the way he basically announced this is basically saying that series and like the movie universe are two different things. And I don't like that. I feel like I don't think that any of these characters should be in this Superman movie. I think Superman and Batman, good. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, that's a bit much. But like, if they're gonna do it, like I wish it'd be in a smart way where they don't have to spend that much time developing a character because they've already been developed. And the fact that they're not even considering putting the TV heroes in there, which I think would be smart and different if they said, all right, here we go. Here's a bigger story for Oliver Queen and Justice League and for the Flash. But
and it's got to scare you for what they're gonna do with Arrow in the DC universe.
I hope they just
for the motion picture series.
If they don't put him in it, I just don't think they should put Green Arrow in there at all.
Which it sounds like they're gonna recast it with someone else. I mean, that's what it sounds like this is leading up to.
That's a waste if they do that. I really think
I agree, but
we
that's what it sounds like.
DC Comics, though, has been doing this for a long time. That is not doing it the way that...
Screwing up?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say screwing up. The only character they've honestly consistently got... Well, Batman was hit or miss a little bit, maybe. But, I don't know.
But, I mean, they haven't successfully made good motion pictures. That's what I'm saying. Yes, Christopher Nolan made a good Superman franchise, but... Batman, sorry.
It's fine.
And then Christopher Reeve's Superman. But other than that, there's nothing.
Yeah. It's like cohesion and like continuity are things that even in the comic universe, DC is just not good at. Marvel's universe has been kept on going. DC universe has been retconned like twice at this point. And so like it's changed after the Infinite Crisis, it changed the continuity and they started over, and now the New 52 continuity started over again. And so it's like even in the comic universe, cohesion and continuity is just something they can't get right. But I don't know. Here's hoping. Anyways, let's move on. Yeah, speaking of Batman vs Superman, what'd you guys think of the Superman photo? Think it looked cool? There's not much to say here.
You know what would have been really cool is if they'd had that shadow building in the back had been Batman. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
He would have been a teaser. I mean, but I'm just thinking like I liked it. He looked cool. It looked like he was in Gotham City though. That's kind of cool because of the rain, But I'm excited.
When they come out with these first picks though, I think it usually is something like that. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't really give away anything, so I think they might come out with something like you were saying, like maybe later, a little more complex, a little bit more teasy kind of stuff.
Yeah, Comic-Con's coming up later this month. I'm expecting they're not going to have a trailer. It's too early. I'm thinking the big reveal will be the first promotional image of Batman and Superman together. And that's cool. That's a big deal.
Punching each other in the face, and
gosh.
Superman busting Batman's head
flying
off. Batman's flying through the air, yeah.
And Batman in a hospital getting his face stitched back on.
Which
Superman's bringing him flowers.
that would be the best Comic-Con of all time. I mean, we're kind of jaded here, don't you think? I mean, when finding out about Batman versus Superman, I peed my pants. But it's now it's like I'm starting to get worried, but I'm not gonna
because
lie.
it's like they're trying to stuff a bunch of stuff into it, you know?
Yeah, we have good reason to get worried, but like I'm still gonna geek out when I see the first picture of Batman and Superman together. Just a pretty huge thing, I think. So
because here's the worst part about it is we now have a movie where it was done right with the team up of superheroes. So anything that is done, it's like, oh crap, even if we try our best to not compare it at all, it's in the back of our mind is going to be sitting there, the greatest superhero team movie of all time.
Absolutely. And
so,
I keep thinking that, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I kept thinking, like, that I don't want it to be brooding. I don't want it to be dark, but it kind of has to. I mean, Marvel's doing their thing, keeping it light and keeping it fun, and it's awesome. But, like, DC has to come at it at a way where it's a superhero movie, so it needs to have a certain level of fun, but to be different, I feel like it needs to be sort of dark and sort of brooding and have that more darker atmosphere.
Definitely.
DC's always been darker anyways. So I feel like that's what they need to do. But one of the major complaints with Man of Steel is that it wasn't fun enough. It wasn't humorous enough, which I gotta admit, there is a lacking of humor in that movie. And so I would like to see a little bit more. I mean, there was more humor in Dark Knight Rises than there was in Man of Steel. And
but think about But think about what that had to come from. Like, the Dark Knight Rises wasn't the first movie. You had two movies before it, and the middle movie was freaking dark. I know that you hated it, but the middle movie was dark. You know, you didn't necessarily leave it going, oh yeah, let me go get some ice cream, or yeah, let me go.
No,
to
I wanted to jump off a bridge, but. No, I just think that they need to inject a little bit of levity into this movie, especially if they're having this amount of heroes in it. And if they're going to be that crazy, they need to not be so self-serious. So
Speaking of my hope. Crazy overload of superheroes, X-Men Days of Future Past director's cut confirmed. Yes. I really like that movie. I saw playing the Marvel superheroes movie. Let me just go back to my video gaming because makes me want to go and see that movie again because the X-Men do play a big part in that Lego video game. What do you guys think?
In that game? Like, that's like one of the few opportunities you get to like have those characters together because it's Lego. So that way, that's a cool moment seeing Captain America work with Mr. Fantastic in that game, just to be like, wow, this is the only place where this is possible, pretty much, unless it's a cartoon.
Well, for those of you who aren't done with the game, just wait.
Oh boy.
Yes. And now we need to have an intro for this next segment.
Wait, real quick, I wanted to kind of talk about this. I added this because there's a kind of a split on director's cuts and like extended editions and how these things come out for Blu-rays, because I feel like they're either beloved like the Lord of the Rings and kind of like the Blade Runner movie it's a better movie sometimes, and most of the times I feel like the assumption is that it's a cash grab and it's worse. And it was cut for a reason, and a good reason. I mean, like, have you guys had any director's cuts or extended editions that you've preferred over the original cuts?
Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner was definitely an improvement. Personally, I do prefer Lord of the Rings extended because I feel like if you're going to sit down for 3.5 hours or whatever, you might as well just go the full adventure, go the long haul, and just do it all and get the entire thing. I think there's a lot of cool scenes in those extended editions.
Yeah.
And in the Days of Future Past, they're very, very public. They cut out a big portion of that movie, which takes place in the future and having to do with Rogue. and a breakout scene. And I think that I would like to see more of the future stuff, because of my nostalgia for the original cast. And so I'm really looking forward to the director's cut. And the fact that it's a director's cut and not just deleted scenes, and they're actually editing it into the movie, that's awesome.
You know how much longer it's going to be?
No, not exactly.
I don't think they said.
But apparently it was like a 10-15 minute scene. So
I usually go for the director's cuts when I'm buying a movie, because usually the director's cuts have the theatrical version, which no one watches because they want to watch what they didn't show in theaters. They want to watch it because they don't want to miss anything. And like Lord of the Rings, I do definitely agree with you. There's some cool stuff in there that they cut out. There's some stuff that was, there's a reason they cut it out. They didn't want a 4-hour movie, every one of them. But I don't mind watching more of a movie. Like, I've never had a problem with the length of a movie unless it was just like, are you kidding me?
Well, I think it was Roger Ebert who said that a good movie is never long enough and a bad movie is never short enough. So when it's a great movie, you kind of want to see it elongated. But when it's a bad movie, like in my opinion, Transformers, it's like, yep, too long. Yep. And so like too long is something we say generally, in a general sense. That movie's too long. But if something's great, you're not going to complain about it,
Yeah, and that movie was great. So I will be definitely trying to get my hands on. I'll probably just borrow yours since you'll have it, because you'll have 302 movies.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting for X-Men 500 to come out before you buy any X-Men movies, right?
I have all of the X-Men movies because I didn't think they would keep making them.
That's actually a pretty reasonable assumption.
Because X-Men 3 was an abomination. It was one of the worst things I've ever viewed in my entire existence on this planet.
Oh my god!
Hallelujah!
I don't know about that.
The only reason that I
would
got
not
it
go that
was
far.
because it was trilogy for $20 on Blu-ray with a $8 certificate to see First Class, and I wanted to see that one. So guess what I did? Bought it. Boom.
It is not nearly that bad, I will say that.
It's not, but it hurt my feelings, so it's very bad.
Just the fact that it has X-Men in it make it not that bad.
Oh man, it hurts my feelings so bad.
Hey, but I'm glad that we stayed on that, because that is a cool little nugget that I would have just passed over, because I just saw it written on the list. You hadn't really mentioned that they cut out a bunch of scenes, and I just read an article about that. So I'm glad that they're going to do that if they actually did cut out all those scenes. Or a lot of it.
Yeah,
now.
They have a lot of scenes cut out also of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that's not gonna. They're not gonna give a director's cut of that movie, because I think the Spider-Man franchise in general is a series that's more run by the studios. Yeah, they let the director go and direct it, but they don't have that trust in Mark Webb like 20th Century Fox has in, like, say, Bryan Singer. They have that trust in him to hand over a franchise to him, and if they think that he can release a director's cut, they'll let him. Whereas Mark Webb, I'm pretty sure the studio would say, no. So, yeah. You want to take us into our next feature, Joe?
Talk.
is that the theme?
We need to have an intro to this. Trailer talk.
Was that it? Is that Batman saying trailer talk?
We need to have Batman or
trailer talk.
Bane.
Bane.
A little trailer talk, I see. Okay, sorry.
Today on the slate, which I put both of these in there. We can watch other ones too, but I haven't seen either of these trailers, and I have no idea. The first one is it's a movie called Zero Theorem.
Theorem, Joe.
Theorem. That's just a THEOREM. When you guys look it up, I want to make sure that everyone can see it. So
Zero Dark Theorem.
It might only be, from what I've read, it might only be on iTunes trailers. So
the best place.
Go and look it up. It's with Christopher Waltz. Come back.
Ooh. All right. Goodbye.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it looks actually pretty crazy. I'd be willing to check it out for sure. Looks like a thinker.
That's what I'm thinking. I like to think sometimes, so.
Sometimes when we're not watching Transformers and our minds are getting sucked out of our heads.
Christoph Waltz seems like one of those people that is just going to be put in these ridiculous roles every time he makes a movie.
Yeah, he's never going to be just a regular old Joe in any movie. I really doubt.
No, you definitely won't be. That's for sure. Well, the next trailer and last trailer is Before I Go to Sleep. It is with Colin Firth and Nicole Kidman. They're putting out a lot of movies together.
You just saw one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. The Railway Man. So let's check this one out.
Is this the sequel to While I Was Sleeping?
I don't know about that, but it could be. So Before I Go to Sleep, go watch it.
And we're back. So I'm about to say something really unfair.
Uh-oh.
Looks like an unfun version of Memento.
An unfun, yeah.
An unfun version where Guy Pearce plays it kind of, aloof and kind of sly. Nicole Kidman, we're just going to watch her for 2 hours look terrified out of her mind.
Yeah.
Thing I'll say is it seems to show a lot. It seems to
I
show
know.
scenes that would be late in the movie.
Yeah, it's very true. Especially for a mystery movie. That seems odd.
Hopefully you've watched the trailer so you know what we're talking about.
If you haven't,
If you haven't, go watch it now.
then we've just spoiled the trailer for you.
Yeah, shame on you for not following the rules. You're supposed to watch it with us. Shame on you.
Yeah, I can't say I'm excited about that one.
It seems a little frustrating. I don't know.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to fail. I'm sorry, listeners, failing the trailer.
It's fine,
Hey,
Joe.
I like watching all trailers. I just doesn't mean I'm going to see those movies.
Exactly. That's fine, Joe. Fine. Shall we move on
Television
to TV
news.
news? Television.
No.
There's not much. I'm not going to lie. But Brandon Routh is going to be playing the Atom in Arrow. So that's kind of weird that, is that like Brandon Routh's apology? Not his apology, but is that DC's apology to Brandon Routh for sorry, you didn't get a franchise out of Superman. So you get to be the Atom in the TV show.
It does seem like it's not fair to him. Because I don't think he was a bad Superman.
No, it wasn't. That movie wasn't.
Just wasn't a good
his
movie.
fault. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
not his fault.
I think he fit the character well.
Maybe he'll actually play Superman. Maybe he'll play both characters in the Arrow. Maybe they're trying to write Superman onto it, and the Atom is just their code word for it.
Code word.
That's what an outrageous hero to put in. I am only halfway through season 2, but it's crazy how they've gone from no one with superhero powers to apparently in season 3 they're gonna have someone who can change size to the atomic level. That's pretty awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, they have already in just 2 seasons had a spin-off. You know what I mean? So there was enough of an outcry for the Flash that they spun that off. They were like, oh, we're doing so well with this, we're gonna just make another show. And we're gonna.
Yeah, I hardly count the Flash as a spin-off. It's like when his cameo in season 2. This isn't a spoiler, but because he's not in it much, but he's obviously there with setup for his own show. It's not like they had the character in the show and they were like, he's good, let's make a show out of him. He put him in the show to start to set him up. So I thought that was
Sure.
smart. But anyways, it's probably gonna be fine.
Agreed.
All right, gaming news. Not much here. Surprise. Every week. Well, E3's over. I feel like gaming news is going to be kind of slow for a while, and movie news is going to pick up exponentially when Comic-Con hits us.
Yeah.
Movie news is just always more.
Yeah. That's how it is.
More bubbling up.
There's always so much anticipation for video games, well, also for movies, but for video games, it's we're always just waiting for the game, and there's not much news in between. It's we're not going to talk about new costumes that have been revealed for Destiny. We're just going to talk about the games. But Lindsay Lohan.
We could always talk every week about the future and like what games we wanted to play or we're looking forward to, but that's for another time, another place. Continue.
Lindsay Lohan is suing Rockstar for a character in GTA who resembles her likeness.
Which I do not see it.
No, it's a bunch of nonsense.
I don't see it at all. It might look like her maybe like 7 years ago before all the drugs got poured into her body.
She wants money.
Yeah,
she just wants money.
But even then, I still don't see it.
No.
I don't even see what she's talking about. Even if it looked identical to her, it's still like, it's just crap.
Yeah, they have to go. It's like when it's a video game or something where they're not using someone's specific likeness, like her image isn't in the game, her songs aren't in the game, her voice isn't in the game. Just really a parody of her and of her lifestyle, and that sort of thing has been going on for ages. And you don't see people like that getting sued. Paris Hilton's been parodied in like several different things. You don't see her suing. It's like it's obviously a cash grab because like the only difference between those things and this has made so much money, and she wants a piece of it.
It's ridiculous. There's too many Hollywood stars who could be that person. It's just stupid.
Absolutely, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous until she wins.
Yet another lawsuit that's just outrageous.
Hopefully she can get some bread.
Hopefully not. Don't want to encourage more of that.
Yeah, if this happens for her, it's just going to be the next thing where someone feels like they want money and maybe gets offended.
I think Drake from Uncharted looks like me. Maybe I should sue Naughty Dog.
I see it.
Yeah, you look just like Nathan Drake, Joe.
He acts like me too, so...
Wow.
Adventurous.
Yep.
Extremely fit.
I'm able to climb up scale walls with my
Assassin's Creed Indiana Jones guy.
Yeah, dude, I should get money.
We are making record time though tonight to our topic of the week.
Well, we never usually get to the topic of the week because we have so much news, but we don't have that many this week.
No, I was kind of joking.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, real quick, nothing to say about this. An update has allowed that the PS4 controller can be used wirelessly on a PS3 console, which is nice. Thanks, Sony, for doing that. So I can have more controllers for my PS3 that I don't use as much, or just use my PS4 controller on the PS3 just because it's a better controller. Yay!
I doubt many people are using a PS3 who own a PS4.
The next update, you'll get to use your PS3 remotes for your PS4.
There's just so many games I haven't played that I'm kind of going back to it. So,
what I'm really looking forward to is when I can use my Xbox One controller on the original Xbox.
Oh my gosh,
that'll be the day.
That will be the day when I can use my NES
controller on the One. Oh yeah.
You might have to wait a while for that.
Exactly. Nothing like using a Wii controller on a PS4. That'll be the day.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so that does it for our MTG news. So let's move on to the topic of the week. Well, guys, this episode ran a little long, so I split this episode into 2 parts. So check out Batman's 75th anniversary podcast where we talk about Batman for an hour. Check it out. Thank you for listening to the MTG Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at MTGPod and on Facebook.com/MTGPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, hit us up and we'll answer you on the show. Stay tuned, everybody.